Bonjour, je suis not manly et ici le voyage d'espace, je ne sais quoi. And this is part 31 where we're taking a look at Enon, the second moon of Nara. 1,400 kilometers across, and a mere 28 microkerbins, about moon-sized, and surface gravity is about moon-sized as well, although the developers compared this to Duna more so than the moon. A day is 219 hours, and it is tidally locked with Nara. It has a very slight, again non-zero, inclination. Delta V to get out here, it takes 2 and a bit kilometers per second from low Nara orbit. Capturing is pretty light at a mere half a kilometer per second. Landing is considerably more than the moon, but otherwise very much like the moon at 1,200 meters per second. When you get out here, it is the brightest surface of all of the Nara moons, all things considered, and it does have a very high science multiplier, just like the inner moon, EVAS, does. But this moon gave me trouble on the surface. It only has 4 biomes. It has considerable surface traction problems, at least with the current Copernicus and the current je ne sais quoi. It is somewhat tougher than the moon to land on, but not as crazy as, like, Moho is. When we last left our heroes Chris, Bob, and Doug Kerman, they were just exiting orbit above Amos and warping out to Enon. They waited a few hours until these moons were aligned up, so they could just warp out there without too much trouble. And we've already found an anomaly on the surface of Enon there. Look at that. It's going to be the only anomaly, probably another random monolith once again. I'm trying to get a reasonably circular, flat orbit here. We're already in the wrong direction here, but hey, we've got our Medusa nuclear pulse, not a problem. Delta V for weeks, although maybe not for too many more weeks at this rate. We're gonna have to send this craft back for some servicing. So yeah, nice circular orbit, and then we can warp in the rest of the way until the warp drive safety kicks in, and then we can close orbit to a nice tight, I think we did a 20-kilometer orbit. We'll find out in just a bit. Enon is considered to be a considerable flavor of ice out here. Again, the developers described this as a moon nearly the size of Duna, but it did not have the Delta V requirement of Duna by any stretch. It was more like the moon, more like Vol, a little less than Moho. Not too bad to manage though. And there we go. So we finish lowering our orbit to a good 19, yeah, what did they pick? 18 kilometers, there we go. There we go. Nice crater. I've got the brightness turned up to my normal one right now. So it does show up well, but I will turn the brightness down to 0. Even though Enon is the brightest Nara moon, it is still ridiculously dark, as you will see in just a bit. Look at that. And that's on the dark side, so we'll get to the so-called light side in just a bit, after a quick Nara rise there. There's the sun. There we go, we're beginning to get some sunlight on the surface here. Not very much, I have to admit. Maybe it was worth waiting the 190 years to get out here. At least then Nara would have been at periapsis, and we might have had a little more sunlight to work with. We would have had to have called up a whole new group of astronauts, though. Anyway, let's get Bob and Doug aboard the rover, and we've got that little booster there to help with the descent. It gives an extra 500 meters per second boost so that we'll have enough Delta V to return to orbit after landing. And I managed to cram a docking port junior inside that structural housing there. It was the only way I could make it work and still allow the craft to dock. I could have used the inflatable airlock, but the airlock wouldn't expand. Being inside the warp bubble, like anything else, it's still marked as stowed and we're not able to extend it. Anyway, we'll get about a quarter of the way around to where roughly the anomaly is, and we'll try to land close to that. We're not going to try to change our inclination here, though. I don't want to take any chances with the tight Delta V requirement we've got here. And the terrain is pretty rough, so we are going to have to watch that. It's kind of moho-like in that sense, so I'm pulling up a little bit to keep our vertical speed down a bit. But yeah, about 500 meters per second on that booster there, then we'll detach it and we'll go into vertical landing mode on those engines. First couple times I tried landing on here in tests, I was able to land the rover but wasn't able to get back up. I'm using this little booster mechanism much like the 10-meter heat shield I used back at Enon. If only I knew about the structural parts then, I might have been able to bring this rover back from Enon. Oh well. We learn. We run out of fuel on the booster and we have to quickly reconfigure this craft before we can touch down safely. You can take a look at that suicide burn marker. It's saying that we are already in the negative. Yeah, look at that. Oops. Fortunately, Kerbal Engineer just got confused, just like it did at Moho. Come on there. The sooner we get this thing pointed downward, the sooner we can thrust for our lives and land safely. And here we go. Bye-bye, booster. My tests were from higher altitudes. At 20 kilometers up it was a little tougher, but still quite manageable. Not too bad. On the way we did get some low space science. We forgot the high space science though, so we're gonna have to pick that up on the way out to Prax when the time comes. Where's our landing marker? Alright, at least the suicide burn altitude looks reasonable now. Kerbal Engineer just seems to have a problem with these outer system bodies. You see how the suicide burn countdown is increasing when I accelerate? I don't know what's going on there, but it kind of does work. I'll take that. Otherwise, we don't have much problem touching down. Well, we do have a problem touching down, but it had nothing to do with landing the craft hard. You'll see in just a bit. Come on, Bob. Lots and lots of practice for you. And touchdown. And we're already sunk into the ground. Yeah, Sans. Go ahead, makes fun of us. Anyway, a little bit later, and well, I decide I'm going to try to crab walk this thing. Enon's gravity is a lot like the moon, so we do have enough torque on these reaction wheels to kind of rotate the craft. We can roll it around. There we go. It took a bit of a dance here, a little bit of a crab dance, to finally find a piece of terrain that was stable enough for us to drive properly. Come on there, Bob. Crab walk, crab walk. We're not doing a crab rave, I'm gonna tell you that much. Anyway, a few minutes of that and I was finally able to find a piece of terrain that was reasonably stable, and then I could use Bon Voyage to head out to the anomaly. I'm skipping much of the science gathering here because, hey, at this point I'm getting tired of these things. I'm getting tired of the loss of traction, and I'm getting tired of this playthrough, honestly. By the way, some readers did submit some suggestions. First they suggested removing Making History using either the Making Less History add-on, or by doing something else, or by putting parallax on there. Neither of those things worked. What did work though was turning on cheats and just doing this. Okay, you know what, if the game is going to mess with me with that, like that, I'm going to mess with the game. To heck with you guys. Don't worry, when I get this thing back for takeoff, I will make sure cheats are turned off so we can at least do a proper takeoff. But in the meantime, if the game's going to mess with me, I'm going to mess with the game. But we do find the anomaly. It is one of the random monoliths, and we do come to a stop, and I hope that there's a piece of stable terrain out here. But I did take a look around, and... oh, wait a minute. One of the wheels looked okay. Oh, yeah, some of them did. Let's just... can we get up there? It's a pretty small piece. Let's see if we can crab walk over there. Come on. Oh, almost. Oh, we're just on the edge of that, I think. So let's back... oh, nope. we're sunk. Back up, back up, back up, back up. And there we go. I'll consider that stable enough. A quick save and reload later and we do get some more science out there, and Bob is having a hard time standing on the rover. Oh well, let's get him on top of the anomaly to plant our flag. Well, at least we got him out here, I'll give him that much. That traction problem seemed to translate to the monoliths as well, because I just took a quick step and, well, that was it for Bob. Down you go. Bonk. And a face plant. Good thing these suits are made of pretty stern stuff, eh? Anyway, at least we get enough traction that we're able to get Bob back up here. On these broken pieces of terrain, we would lose total control of these Kerbals and many other things we couldn't do. Surface object scanning, and we can't even plant flags properly. Oh my goodness. Oh well, it's close enough. We'll take that. Enon Randolith. My goodness. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead, salute the monolith, and get in that rover. Let's head northward. Along the way, we do get this lovely shot of Nara and the inner system. Not bad there, not bad at all. We do get up to the poles, and for some reason we are somehow 1 meter below the surface? I'm not sure how that happened, but we got a traction problem as well. Now I've turned cheats off, so any rocket delta V I use to get out of here is going to have to count towards my delta V, so let's just gently push out of here. There we go, we got 1, 2, come on, a little more, 3, and 4. There we go. We got all 8 of our wheels up. Ah, my goodness. Now we're 1 meter above the surface. This North Pole was pretty safe, nothing crazy, just some minor terrain seams at the very top. We do have some floating terrain there. Oh my goodness. Anyway, a short drive later, we do find at least one scannable object. I think that was it over there. Yep, there it is. This looks like a Dres meteorite. We found these on Dres and we found them on Edna. Let's see what we get here. We also found Dres craters. Well, at least as soon as we get lined up for a better scan. Let's try that again. There we go. So we found Dres craters and we found Dres meteorites. Both were worth just over 800 science. So not too bad. If we were on a buggy piece of terrain, the arm scanner wouldn't have worked at all. But it worked here. We were able to get some scans. But I got fed up at this point and just headed straight south back to the equator. And just to make sure we didn't explode, because this happened to me once or twice, I turn on some of the cheats. Yeah, I've kind of had it with this. Don't worry, I do turn them back off after fixing the craft. Jolt's a time warp. We've gone and done this before. And there we go. Little bit at a time, little bit at a time. We're still sunken, but at this point, I'm at the equator. I don't care anymore. We'll just do a little bit of crab walking, and then we'll line this craft up for takeoff. There we go. Cheats are off. And there we go. Crab walk, crab walk. I hope Prax doesn't give us too much trouble like this. Anyway, with Chris right above us, it is time to accelerate and take off. And there we go. I was a little worried I was going to collide with that ridge up there, so I pulled up a little bit just to make sure I cleared it. We weren't too bad. And I am checking my... What am I checking for? Oh yeah, I'm checking for my relative inclination with Chris there, so it's not too bad. There we go, we cleared that ridge and we're pretty much home free. We did have the Delta V to get back up to orbit, just. We were very, very low on fuel by the time we closed orbit and set up our rendezvous. My goodness, yeah. It was tight there, but don't worry, we can top up the tanks on this thing before we head over to Prax. bad, not bad at all. There you are. Hey Chris, we're gonna catch up with you in just a bit. So I hope this problem doesn't bother me on Prax. If it does, Prax is a small enough moon that I'll just end up using engines to get around. I should have enough delta V without cheating to get around the surface of that place. There we go. And let's see if that docking port does become usable over in that shroud container there. Let's see. Let's see if we can pick it. Oh, yep, there it is. Clampotron Jr. set as target. Again, I could have used the airlock, but the airlock just wouldn't extend while within the warp bubble. And I couldn't exactly detach this craft, extend it, then reattach everything. That wasn't going to work either. Anyway, at least we got Bob and Doug docked back up here. Thank goodness for that. So I didn't have to do the moons in a funny order. Anyway. Also inside that structural part, we added some additional EVA struts, so we were able to get Doug here to strut it up from the inside. There we go. Those structural parts are pretty handy. They have attachable surfaces on the inside as well as the outside. You can attach things on the inside like that docking port. Yeah, it looks a little floaty there. Wasn't much I could do about that. But hey, we'll take that. At least Doug was able to strut this thing up. And after some rebalancing, we get this craft ready to head out to Prax. While all that was going on, our survey satellite above Nara has pretty much completed its anomaly survey. We found the 2 anomalies that we discovered on the way in. We're not quite complete with our biome scan, but we're not too far off either. But at least with this, we've got a much closer view of these anomalies, and the area around this one at least is 2 kilometers up, so we're not going to suffer pressure failure approaching this thing. Let's make sure the other one is okay too. Yeah, the other one is 1 kilometer up, so we're not going to suffer pressure failure there either. There are our 2 markers, and we'll head out there in 2 episodes. In the meantime, we're going to head out to Prax. Until then, I'm not manly. Fly safe.